But one offshoot of the violence has been to see Polish people's homes being targeted. With me now is South Belfast MLA Jimmy Spratt. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, everyone condemns the violence from wherever it comes, but just update us on what actually happened in, particularly I think, the village area of Belfast then on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, my understanding is that not football supporters, but mainly other hangers-on started attacking a number of homes, and certainly there was 12, 14 homes attacked. I understand that figure now is someplace around 26. And I have to say that those attacks are condemned and utterly condemned. Those people should be allowed to live peacefully in the area, because they are people who are working in the vicinity, Lisburn Road and in areas around the city, and are making a tremendous contribution to the economy of Northern Ireland.
No, it does seem, and we've some of the addresses of some of those that have appeared in court, the Polish nationals, perhaps living in England on some occasions, and from some cases here we can see it's clear that they aren't actually local living Polish nationals. So what the police are saying about those travelling to cause trouble is probably true, but we've had a community there, particularly in an area like the village, that have lived fairly peaceably for quite a number of years now. Yes,
indeed, and certainly that bears out the comments made to me. I had conversations with senior police personnel on Saturday evening, and certainly they were indicating that the people who provoked the trouble and were involved in it were certainly from outside Northern Ireland, and there was certainly no indication that the people who were living locally were in any way involved in that trouble.
Do you think some people, I mean, it's a loyalist area, do you think people were, on the fringes perhaps of loyalism, were looking for an excuse to attack these homes?
Well, there's no excuse for any attack on anyone's home, no matter where it comes from. Any instances of disorder or anything else in the area, or antisocial behaviour, that's a matter for the police service to deal with. And I know that there has been problems in the past, but certainly it's the police service and the police service only that should deal with any of those incidents, and people should not be provoked into any sort of attacks.
Although obviously it doesn't appear to be the primary cause, there's been some commentary about the time of the kick-off at 5:15. Now that wasn't unusual, but should perhaps the police, if they've got a bit of prior information about potential trouble, be involved in determining the kick-off time? At the moment it's just for FIFA and Sky TV and so on, isn't it?
Well, I think in the whole Northern Ireland matches there hasn't been any trouble. Our own supporters, whenever they travel abroad, have been hailed as having impeccable records, and in fact have won awards for their behaviour. And I think that's sort of a normal time for matches. In fact, matches have normally been later. And I think it's something that perhaps needs to be considered. But I think that the provocation certainly came from people coming into the province, and I think they were hell-bent on creating disorder and rioting and provoking people into... and I must say, on the whole, the Northern Ireland supporters have been impeccably behaved, and I commend them for that. And I know that from comments today and folks that I've spoken to today who were in the vicinity, actually police officers were taken out and helped, who had, in fact, 2 police officers who had been isolated were actually helped by Northern Ireland supporters, and also a number of Polish fans who weren't involved in the trouble were actually assisted by Northern Ireland fans as well. So I think in the whole, the Northern Ireland fans have an impeccable record.
Although there was some coverage in the newspapers even before the game of sectarian graffiti about the Polish goalkeeper and so on. So whilst the majority of the blame is obviously being put on Polish fans, there might be a little bit of responsibility either way, might there?
Well, I think there's no place for any sort of sectarian graffiti or anything else, and I think that was condemned. It was condemned by the local community, and in fact it was removed by various organisations who were associated with the Northern Ireland supporters, and I think they have to be commended for that. Certainly no graffiti or anything else should appear in any of these matches.
What about community relations then in South Belfast? As I say, for a number of years Poles and other nationals have lived in these areas, which previously would have been traditionally just one community, a loyalist community, but things have been okay. This probably is the most widespread number of attacks in any one particular evening. Are you concerned about the future?
Yes, I am concerned. I'm concerned about any attacks, and I would appeal that those attacks immediately stop. And I know that the police have had additional resources in, and it's at a time whenever police resources are fairly stretched with other dissident Republican stuff that's going on at the minute, and I would appeal to everyone for calm and to allow everyone to live in peace in that area, because on the whole that's what happens day and daily, and I certainly hope that we move back to that situation.
Jimmy Spratt, many thanks indeed.